Violent incidents this week at popular shopping centers in the Memphis area.
And it made us wonder about security requirements and what the law says stores have to do to keep you safe. Attorney Thomas Greer is here. Welcome, Thomas. Good to have you.
Thomas, for anyone who has gone in the Poplar Plaza area to shop, including myself over the years, you do see a lot of security officers over there. But when it comes to who's responsible for beefing up security this time around, apparently since there had been another incident maybe a week or so before, what do you do?
Well, one of the things I wanted to say to you all today and to say to your viewers is that shopping centers, the owners of the shopping centers, the tenants that are there, they have a responsibility to take reasonable steps to keep their property safe.
Okay.
That doesn't just mean cleaning up spilt milk on the floor or fixing a loose railing. That means to make the parking lot and the common areas safe.
Okay.
So the owners and the tenants that occupy that space, they have a duty to take steps to make it safe, including having security personnel, having appropriate number of security personnel, having them be well trained, having lighting, having video surveillance, and training their staff to be on the lookout for incidents such as these.
And when Alex mentioned that a similar incident, not as bad, had happened previously, stores and merchants in areas where there has been a pattern have a bigger burden, or no?
That is correct. The law in Tennessee, basically in the civil law, everything comes down to reasonableness. So if you have a shopping center in a high crime area, or you have a shopping center that's seen violent crime in the past, those centers are going to have a higher burden. They need to take extra steps to make sure that the property is safe, and they need to monitor criminal activity not only in the area but within their parking lot as well.
Thomas, one thing I found interesting yesterday in the news conference that was called on for Memphis Mayor A.C. Warden and Police Director Tony Armstrong, they talked about a curfew for these young people. And, you know, a lot of people, the mayor was saying, well, you know, why don't we have a curfew? Then he alluded to the fact that we do, the city of Memphis does have one, but would it have really applied in this case?
Well, I think in this case the report was that it happened at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. I was reading, I didn't know there was a curfew either. I was reading in the paper somewhere that the curfew on the weekend is midnight. So
right.
I don't know that the curfew would have, obviously wouldn't have done any good in this particular case.
Right. And you have to be careful with curfews, don't you?
Well, you do from a legal perspective. In general, they're okay. However, if you had a curfew that was designed to target a minority race, if you
so
say
in a particular part of town or
sure,
whatever.
let's say you had a curfew in a particular zip code that was predominantly African American, that would probably not hold up in the court of law.
Right.
There are also supposed to be exceptions within curfews to allow parents to have rights over their children, to let them have a parental exception, and things like that. So they can be problematic, but in general they're okay.
So for those of us, because there's a lot of viewers, we're hearing from them who are now thinking, gosh, the Colonial area, not what you typically consider a negative part of town. Poplar Plaza, there's many, many fine stores there. It's very near, you know, two great areas.
Sure.
So should we have an expectation of safety and security
Sure.
under the law?
You know, I live in Memphis. I love this city. I'm going to keep going to these places, Poplar Plaza, the Target on Colonial. I think it's a responsibility for all of us. Parents of the children that were involved, ordinary citizens, the police department, and the owners of these shopping centers.
And the merchants as well.
And we also hear these days about the responsibility that should be thrown on parents who have children who are not enrolled in school who get in trouble, that they too could be slapped in jail.
Absolutely. We will continue to follow the story. Of course, thank you, Thomas, and we showed you where to find Thomas and his colleagues.
In other news this morning,